Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Team Bandit Gang YouTube channel and to episode 3 of Lore Blast, Tales of Master Mirror. With Halloween approaching in 2 weeks, which marks the end of the contract that Master Mirror and Enzo signed, we'll have 2 stories left for you before we can no longer tell any stories that directly involve Master Mirror, so we have prepared a couple of very big topics for all of you. In the first 2 tales of the Master Mirror, you heard the stories of Marlene de Trastamara and Professor Shakeslock. While they are not as significant compared to the next 2, you still learn something about Master Mirror. Now you will see more of his inner workings with this next tale. If you have played Hearts of Stone during your Witcher 3 runs, then you are aware of this character, as he had an encounter with Gwent that changed his entire life. He went from living in a family of nobility to being hit by misfortunes that fell the family to disarray, to eventually all being destroyed around him because of his wishes to Master Mirror to, ironically enough, restore the status his family once held. So here is the tale of Olgierd Von Everec.
Ottoman, sir. You've a guest.
Olgierd Von Everec was born to a family of high nobility, being the son of Christina and Bohemil von Everec, making him a member and heir of the esteemed House of Von Everec. He had one younger brother, Vladimir. Coming from a family of high status, the brothers learned how to read, write, shoot, and fight with a saber, making them very capable and intelligent beings. However, things took a turn in their life. Once they were able, the brothers formed a group of rogues of fellow noble status who would go on raids along the borders of Temeria and Velen. In fact, they became so notorious that the mere mention of Olgierd struck fear into the hearts of the locals who lived there. He was referred to as the Ataman of the Redanian Free Company. Around this time, he began to date and fell in love with Iris, a woman from another noble family. Unfortunately, his life took a turn for the worse when misfortune fell upon his family, as a result of debts, bad crops, and poor investments. Had the debts not been bought by Horst Borsodi, the Von Everecs would have been able to eventually recover from these misfortunes, but when he demanded that the family pay back the money immediately, and they could not do so, despite desperate pleas by Olgierd himself for Horst to give them a week to pay back these debts, the latter seized all their assets, including their estate, which left the Von Everecs practically homeless. Consequently, as the Von Everecs were no longer seen as a high-class family, the parents of Iris considered Olgierd unsuitable for their daughter, and decided to give her hand to a visiting prince from Ophir named Servat in marriage. Olgierd, still in love with Iris, attempted to convince her to be with him, but her unwillingness to cut herself off from her family prevented this from happening, thus leaving the couple with no other choice. Upset at losing both his home and his love, Olgierd cried a shout of desperation, wishing that the prince be turned into a monster. Unfortunately, he was unaware of the weight of his emotions and words, and the prince was transformed into a giant toad due to the resulting curse from that wish. Eventually, he came to the realization that in order to win back Iris, Olgierd must restore the finances of his estate. He came to learn of a being that could grant wishes. This resulted in him making contact with one Gwent. The latter agreed to grant 3 wishes and restore the fortunes, but in return, Olgierd must sacrifice a loved one. Having to choose between Vladimir and Iris, Olgierd chose the former. The sacrifice was achieved when Vladimir was overrun while trying to escape a fight. However, wanting to keep the honour of his brother's name, Olgierd came up with the story of Vladimir dying while trying to fight off several enemies at once. He would also make frequent visits to his grave. In return, Gwent restored the fortune of Olgierd's family, but he made one more wish: to live like there was no tomorrow. While he was happy with this wish, he and Iris married. Unfortunately, this happy marriage would last a very short time, as Olgierd would eventually lose empathy for everyone as a result of his forming a heart of stone, including Iris. Her parents, seeing Olgierd's tendency to surround himself with a group of thugs, were still skeptical of Iris and Olgierd's marriage, and even went as far as giving him money to clear additional debts to prevent embarrassment. This offended Olgierd greatly. As a result of what the wishes were doing to him, Olgierd decided to make contact with Gwent again through the practice of Gotia. Unfortunately, this does not work, as we learn in the game that Gwent is not in fact a demon. Olgierd has also had an argument with Iris' father, as she had brought him in to end the marriage as a result of Olgierd's loss of empathy, eventually resulting in pushing her away. This argument results in the end of the father's life, as Olgierd shoves him against the stone pillar, killing him. Over time, the hatred that Iris had for Olgierd turned into complete apathy. Olgierd attempted to appease her by giving her spectral shadow companions and a caretaker that would look over her in the estate, which are things that she didn't want. After seeing what was happening with her, and no longer capable of feeling love, Olgierd left behind a violet rose, vowing never to cause any more pain in her life, and decided to leave. all stated in a letter left behind with the rose.
What is this row?
Olgierd would then continue to raid along with his party of noble rogues until Geralt of Rivia comes across his burning house during the quest Evil's Soft First Touches. As part of the contract to kill the giant toad, which was the Prince of Ophir, that Olgierd himself cursed when Iris' parents tried to marry her off to him, a story told by Gwent himself when the three meet in front of the burning estate. Upon Geralt's return, he learns of Olgierd's contract with Gwent, and the three meet and talk about Olgierd's contract being fulfilled by his newly appointed champion and proxy, Geralt.
I've come to collect a debt.
You know you first must
Grant you 3 requests by proxy. I present to you my champion, Geralt of Rivia.
After confirming this, Olgierd would then speak with Geralt, eventually agreeing to tell him his 3 wishes. It is throughout the story of Hearts of Stone that we learn of Olgierd's childhood past that led to his eventual encounter with the Master Mirror himself, and the chain of events that led to his current situation in The Witcher 3. Olgierd would then give Geralt the first 2 wishes, with the 3rd wish coming once Geralt had fulfilled the first 2. The tale of his first wish is covered by the Lore Blast video we did on the Borsodis, so we'll have a link in the description below if you want to hear that full story. Olgierd gave Geralt this wish as a way of revenge towards the Borsodis for what they had done to contribute to the failing status of the Von Everec house. The second wish is to give Vladimir the time of his life as a way to repent for having to sacrifice him in order for Master Mirror to restore the family fortune, which Geralt fulfilled by allowing Vladimir to possess him for a day. And his 3rd wish, he instructed Geralt to bring him the rose he left Iris the day he left her due to his inability to feel love, which Geralt managed to do by either bringing the rose or a painting of Iris with the rose, depending on the player's options. Once Geralt had managed to fulfill all 3 wishes, he met with Olgierd at the Temple of Lilvani, with Master Mirror appearing shortly after, thus fulfilling the terms of the contract.
The moon is there. There! Not here.
I gave you what you wished for. Here, on the moon, our contract you fulfill.
From this point, the fate of Olgierd depends on the choices the player makes as Gwent approaches him. If Geralt does nothing, Master Mirror will complete the contract by claiming his soul, giving Geralt a reward of his choosing, and whistling away with Olgierd's skull to his own tune.
Wait.
Do not interfere, Witcher. Remember what I did to the last fool who interrupted me.
If Geralt intervenes, he will make a deal with Master Mirror to play a game to save the soul of Olgierd, in which he's ultimately saved when Geralt solves the riddle and banishes Master Mirror. Olgierd will then finally lose his Heart of Stone and live a new life, but not without rewarding Geralt his sword to mark the start of this life. Regardless of the outcome, Geralt loses his mark, thus ending the tale of Olgierd Von Everec, as well as the pact he made with Gwent. What did you think of Olgierd's tale? Did you think he was correct in going down the road that he did to restore the status of the Von Everecs? If he had not met Master Mirror, what do you think would have happened to his life? Let us know in the comments section below, and be sure to tune in next weekend's episode of Tales of Master Mirror, as you will not want to miss the conclusion of this mini-series within Lore Blast. This has been Moriarty, and I will see you all again soon.
And we're doing another giveaway for a subscription to the Bandit YouTube channel, and the winner is... Oh, exciting! Woo! The winner is... It's you! Woohoo! You just activate that subscription down below. Congrats!